I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Get ready because today we have a special Independence Day show for you. Coming up, we'll meet the man who's changed the face of sports in Israel. Sit tight as we follow an Israeli soldier on a special mission to transform identity politics in the IDF. And get your tissues ready because the former commander of the Israeli Air Force is about to reveal the emotional story that defined his career. Stay tuned to meet some of Israel's most inspiring humans. The meaning of Israel is different to every individual, and Israeli Independence Day marks the time in which the stories that shape that meaning come to light. This week, I had the chance to sit down with the former commander of the Israeli Air Force, Eliezer Shkedy. And when I asked him what Independence Day means to him, he told me what's perhaps one of the greatest stories that I've ever heard.
Looking to find Jerusalem. The city is the symbol. It's the symbol. It's the symbol of the state of Israel. It's the symbol of the Jewish nation. It's the symbol probably for you and for me.
This is Aluf Eliezer Shkedy, the former commander of the Israeli Air Force.
My father, Moshe Shkedy, passed away 2 years ago. He was born in Hungary. In 1944, he jumped from a train. All his family was murdered in Auschwitz. It took him 2 years after the war to understand that he is alone in the world. And he came to Israel.
Little did Moshe know his very own son Eliezer would soon become one of the most powerful and beloved military leaders in the state of Israel. Shkedy served as the front commander against countries that do not border Israel, leading the Israeli-Iran Command, which was set up to coordinate Israeli military operations and intelligence gathering against Iran. He even led the Israeli Air Force through the Second Lebanon War. But when you ask him what story defines him the most, this is the story that he tells.
When I was the commander of the Israeli Air Force, I got a lot of invitations to each and every event in Israel. Honestly, I do not like events. So I talked to my secretary, and usually she said, "Thank you very much, Shkedy has a lot of work to do, and he will not participate." One day she came to me, and she told me, "Do you know you have an invitation from the President Peres to eat dinner with him and with the President of Hungary?" I told her, Avital, my secretary, "Thank President Peres, but I will not participate." Okay. Couple of weeks later, when we talked about the next week, she told me, "You know, next week you have a dinner with President Peres and with the President of Hungary." I told her, "How come? Didn't I tell you to cancel it?" She told me, "I thought you were doing a mistake. I didn't cancel." To me. Now I had two alternatives. The first one is to kill her. The second one is to think maybe she's right and I'm wrong. And I realized that probably she's right. So I told her, "You know, call the President's office and tell them that I will come and I would like to bring my father with me." She called and she said, "Of course, President Peres would like to invite your father as well." So I called my father and told him, "You know, Father, President Peres would like to invite you to eat dinner with him and with the President of Hungary, and I will come with you." Silent on the other side of the phone. After a couple of seconds, he said, "I will come." Okay. The day arrived, I took him and we drove to Jerusalem. Silent in the car. I am with my thoughts, he is with his thoughts. Before we entered Jerusalem, he asked me, "Do you understand what's going on?" I told him, "Of course, we are going to eat dinner with President Peres, with the President of Hungary, and later on I will bring you back." And he told me, you understand nothing. Since I'm talking to the Jewish people all around the world, probably all the people will understand. It was like Haggadah Shel Pesach and Chad Gadya. What it means, he said, I, Moshe Shkedi, is going to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel and the capital of the Jewish nation. From the beginning. I, Moshe Shkedi, is going to Jerusalem. I am going to meet President Peres, who is the president of the state of Israel and of the Jewish nation. From the beginning. I, Moshe Shkedi, President Peres. I am going to this meeting with my son, who is the commander of the Israeli Air Force and the commander of the Jewish Nation Air Force. This is the title that he gave to me. And then he said, from the beginning, Moshe Shkedi, President Peres, my son, I am going to meet the president of Hungary, that 65 years ago, the value of my life was less than the value of a dead dog. From the beginning, Moshe Shkedi, President Peres, my son, the value of my life. And the president of Hungary does not know yet that he is going to apologize. And then he reached the end and he said, do you know, if someone would have asked me 65 years ago to dream the most amazing dream, the most unbelievable dream that you can imagine, no way that I would have dreamed something even close to this situation. And he's right. This is the meaning of proportion. This is the meaning of optimism. And I honestly very optimistic about the state of Israel and the Jewish nation. And this is the story of inventing Israel day after day after day. And the president of Hungary apologized.
Today, you may not find General Eliezer Shkedi cruising the skies of Israel anymore, but he's as active as can be. For a while, he became the CEO of El Al, the flagship airline of Israel, but today he serves as an advisor to 10 different nonprofit organizations in the Holy Land. After all, he'd probably be the first one to say that the sky is never the limit. All right, my friends, I hope you're hungry, because apart from the endless celebrations, Israeli Independence Day marks the time to take out your silverware and get ready to eat. We went deep into the Israeli market Shuk HaCarmel to meet Tal Dubitsky, the young man who's using street food to bring his home country of Venezuela to the people of Israel. Because after all, what would this beautiful country be without the impact of its new immigrants?
I thought it would be impossible to bring Venezuela with me, but the experience was amazing, and we're doing it. We're doing it every day.
All right, a woman has got to eat. Can I have a cachapa?
Cachapa! I'm Tal Dubitsky. I'm from Venezuela, and I came 10 years ago to Israel. All the Venezuelans feel the same. They feel so much love for the country, and they feel so sad because all the situation that's happening right now. And a lot of them wanted to stay, but it's impossible. It's impossible, so they have to flee, they have to go away, and things get tougher. I didn't saw a future for me in Venezuela, so I'm Jewish, so I had a chance to make Aliyah and come to Israel. And arepa is a cornbread, kind of a cornbread, white corn. And we bake it, we bake it on a plancha, and then we open it and we fill it up. It looks like a sandwich, but in a different style.
Now you have to give me a taste of how much work goes into creating one of these delicious dishes.
Amazing. So this is your bowl here. This is mine.
Okay.
And
You already did it for me. You did the hard work.
The Israelis really like healthy food and nice food, and they don't know much about Venezuela. And the experimenting, her first impression of Venezuela is the food, what I'm serving. It's such a great food, so instinctively they think everything like is great about Venezuela. And then
You're definitely not going to be able to give this to anybody.
no, we're gonna do it good. Man. Don't worry about it.
Guys, this is not as easy as it might look.
And amazing. Yeah.
Now we just have to wait for the magic to happen.
A little
right?
bit, yeah.
And how many arepas are you serving every day?
Around 100 a day. Yeah.
That's a lot of people
work.
coming here and a lot of people demanding food quickly.
Not hummus, arepa. Don't eat hummus, eat arepa.
Here's my taste of Venezuela.
A lot of the times when we're eating out or walking around Tel Aviv, people will recognize him on the street from arepas, and you're like, hey, arepas! And people know him because he brings a lot of love to what he does, and you can feel it when you're eating here. You remember eating here, not just the food, but the atmosphere and the vibe and the people.
What stood out to you the most about Tal? Was it him or his arepas?
Well, first the arepas. No, originally, I didn't know him. No, I used to come here, like, after we started dating, I used to come here on Thursdays to eat. And he'd be like, oh, it's time to go. I'd be like, yeah, but I came here for the arepas. I didn't come here for you, man.
How did you know that she wasn't just going for your arepas? How could you know?
Well, everything she is. Aunque estoy lejos de Venezuela, me siento cerca de ella todos los días. And it's hard, no matter what. If you're going from a non-good place to a good place, it will be hard anyways. But here, I had that question a lot of times, and my response is freedom. Only one word, here, I feel free.
All right, I almost started drooling when I watched that, so I guess it's time to change topics. But Tal Dubitsky, let's just say we will be back to visit your food stand very soon. אנחנו במפה, אנחנו נשארים במפה, גם בספורט וגם בהכל. Have you ever heard that saying in Hebrew? Well, it's perhaps one of the most iconic in Israeli history. And here's the incredible part. It all came out of the mouth of an American Jewish basketball player who changed the course of Israeli history by choosing to follow a dream bigger than just his basketball career.
Believe it or not, even when we were on the plane with our players on the basketball team with the Maccabi games, coming to the Maccabi games for the first time, we were wondering, how can we take girls out? We have to rent a camel or go on a donkey. You know, how could this work out? You know, the ideas that we had, I mean, were more than primitive because we didn't know this modern Israel. We didn't know this Israel.
This is Tal Brody, the legendary basketball player who changed the face of sports in the state of Israel. He was slated to join the NBA as one of the top picks drafted for what would today be known as the Washington Wizards. But one visit to Israel changed the course of his life.
Well, getting off the plane during the Maccabi games, it was completely different because at that time there wasn't any television in Israel and we didn't see anything about modern Israel in the United States. When Maccabi Tel Aviv came to me and said, look, Tal, you can go back to the NBA and be one of, at that time, 100 and some basketball players. But if you come to Israel, our team never got past the first round of the European Championship. The country is suffering a very serious recession. People aren't smiling. And maybe come for a year and you can take us to a different level. make a difference. So I said, I'll take a year out of my life, come to Israel, which I never regret. And that 1 year has already turned to 50 beautiful years.
Up until Brody's arrival to Israel, many say Israelis really only viewed basketball as a fun game. But between his serious attitude, inspirational commitment, and lightning speed, the star basketball player began to change how the entire country saw the sport. And then the 1977 European Basketball Championship came around.
We're talking about 1977. And, you know, the story of Israel is from 1947, 48, you know. So you're talking about a span maybe only 30 years that Israel was in existence as Israel, not under the Palestinian Authority of the British Mandate, or the British Mandate. And, you know, like every place that our team would travel, we would see different maps of Israel, how, let's say, how Italy saw us, how Spain saw us. And in 77, you know, the Russians, their team beat the United States team in that controversial game at the Olympics in 72. So you're talking about a period of time when this country was very young itself. And to go up against the Soviet Union, which refused to play us.
The Soviet Union had broken off diplomatic relations with Israel just a decade earlier and backed the Jewish state's Arab enemies both politically and militarily. To Israel, the championship game would be a battle between David and Goliath.
Because they had a great team, the Soviet government never thought that they would lose. They didn't want to have a lot of publicity about this game. And they chose a very small arena in Belgium, in Virton in Belgium, to be a neutral court. But they didn't realize in a very small arena, 498 of the 500 people were cheering for our team and 2 KGB agents were cheering for the Russian team. This game meant a lot to Israel.
And then the Israeli team did it. They won, the first of 6 European Championship Cups. But the triumph represented more than just a victory in sports.
The excitement was so great that when all that was finishing, when I was going to the locker room, Alex Gilady put that microphone into my face and says, "Tal, what do you think of this game?" And that's when it just came out of my heart. From all this period of time, 10 years that I'm in Israel, we are on the map. We are staying on the map, not only in sport, but in everything. Our country, since the 72 Olympics, where we lost 11 of our best athletes that were murdered, and the Yom Kippur War in 73, where we lost over 2,600 soldiers, and all of a sudden comes this basketball team that takes the European Championship and just lights up the nation just as another Independence Day. What we're doing is basically put a stamp that Israel is here. We are here and we have to contribute to the world, and people should realize it.
אנחנו על המפה. אנחנו על המפה. אנחנו במפה.
אנחנו במפה. נשארים על המפה?
גם בספורט
וגם בהכל. אנחנו במפה ואנחנו נשארים במפה, לא רק בספורט, לא הכל. מחיאות הכפיים מסביב לטל ברודי, כ-500-600 אוהדים ישראלים בקבוצים עכשיו.
Beautiful. Now, just so you guys know, Israel has won 6 European basketball championships. Yes, that's right. This tiny nation, full of honestly pretty short people, has become a world leader in the sport. And just because the legendary Tal Brody isn't on the court anymore, doesn't mean his work is done. Today, Brody serves as the first ever Goodwill Ambassador of Israel, traveling the world to assist with Israel's international diplomacy. The position is unpaid, but Brody says it's his honor. So it's no surprise that Israel was honored to make the star athlete the first ever sportsman to receive the highest civilian honor, the Israel Prize. Tal Brody, you will always be on Israel's map. All right, our next Israeli changemaker is just 26 years old, but he's already making waves around the country and, more importantly, in the Israeli military. Get ready to meet the head of the LGBTQ rights organization Blue and White Pride, Omer Nachmani.
אני זוכר שכשהתגייסתי, הדבר שהכי הפחיד אותי זה מקלחות. כי אתה נכנס למקלחת, ומה לעשות שאם אתה מתרגש אז כולם יכולים לראות, ואתה פוחד, זה מפחיד, באמת זה מפחיד רצח. My name is Omer Nachmani. I'm a gay rights activist and head of Blue and White Pride.
Every week, Omer speaks to young Israelis from the LGBTQ community as part of his organization, Blue and White Pride. He's on a mission to help them gain the confidence to transition into the Israeli army while pursuing a successful service.
It's never easy coming out of the closet. I mean, in Israel, in the United States. Yes, I was very worried about going into the military. I mean, it's the military, you know, it's very masculine, everybody's very strong, very like, and I thought I wasn't masculine enough, I wasn't man enough to be in the army. But on the other hand, I came out just before my military service when I was 19, and I wasn't going to go back in the closet. So I came out within the army as well. And surprisingly, I was accepted and loved. You know, as much as you think that Israel and Tel Aviv is so accepting, exactly where we stand right now, there was a shooting of gay youth.
On a summer night in 2009, an unknown shooter made his way into Bar Noar, the Tel Aviv branch of the Israeli LGBT Association, opening fire on dozens of the youth hanging out in the center. 2 people were killed, including a teenage girl, and at least 15 were wounded. Until today, the attack is known as one of the worst in the history of Israel's gay community.
It was just a few months after I came out, when I was 19. And I remember that it shook me up. And it scared me so much, and I thought, is my life going to be like this? Am I going to be scared my entire life? Am I going to be under terror my entire life? But you know, I'm also Israeli, and we live in Israel, and we're not afraid of terror, and we're not going to let terror beat us, or scare us, or stop us from being Jewish, or Israeli, or gay. I had met lots of closeted people and lots of closeted gay men within my service, yes. And they all came up to me because I was out. About 30 people came out to me throughout my service. It's an amazing number. Just 30 people that met me. Think about all the people that didn't meet me and did their entire service within the closet.
But being accepted by their peers isn't the only issue that young LGBTQ Israelis face in the military. Army policy just isn't always on their side.
אם אני גבר, ולי יש בעל, ואני חלילה טפו מת במלחמה, אז בעלי וילדיי, אם הם לא ביולוגים שלי, הם ביולוגים נגיד של בן זוגי, הם לא יקבלו הכרה כמשפחה שכולה. עכשיו זה לא רק הכרה, זה כסף, זה מעמד, זה יזמנו אותם לטקסים, כלום. עכשיו זה נראה לי לא הגיוני, כאילו אני בא לסכן את החיים שלי למען מדינת ישראל. לסכן את החיים שלי למען משהו שאני מאמין בו. כלומר, המדינה שולחת אותי כדי להילחם בטרור, אבל היא לא מוכנה לעשות את הדבר הבסיסי ולהכיר בי כמשפחה שכולה. You know, 1 out of 10 in the society is LGBTQ. You need to accept us. We're born this way. I mean, you need to accept us.
What do you say to people who say there's no place in Israeli society for gay people?
I say come here to Tel Aviv. When you walk here in Tel Aviv and you see people passing by, you see religious people, you see gay couples holding hands, you see everything. And we all live here peacefully. So how come that happens? It's because it's possible.
I love you.
Was this good?
Inspired by this.
I'm serious when I say I love this guy, a true Israeli fighter fighting for change. All right, that's it for today's Independence Day special. Today's exchange rate is 3.62 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv. I'm Natasha Kirchak, and happy Independence Day to you.